Hello, Oilers fans, Canucks fans, and everyone else tuning in. Welcome back. My name is Austin, and this is the day after discussion for the Oilers' 3-2 loss against the Vancouver Canucks. Last night, Game 5 at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, the Oilers had a chance to go up 3-2 and then try and close out the series at home on Saturday at Edmonton. However, the Oilers came up short. The Vancouver Canucks played a terrific game, and there is a lot to discuss. So on the screen, you obviously see some stats here, and I'm going to bring up even more stats a little bit later in this video. There's tons of different things I want to discuss, especially about the Oilers' performance, lineup adjustments, Chris Knobloch not really making in-game adjustments soon enough, in my opinion. And then, of course, we are going to discuss Game 6 and what I think needs to happen if Edmonton wants to stay in the playoffs. If you're an Oilers fan, you probably have PTSD from how this series is playing out. This is very similar to the Vegas series last year. Now, we're not giving up as many goals as we did against Vegas. However, having a lead in every single game, series tied 2-2 going back to Vegas last year, this season going back to Vancouver, had a lead in Game 5, completely collapsed. Like, the second period onward was some of the worst hockey I've ever seen the Oilers play in my entire life. And something looked off last night, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a fatigue factor. I don't know if players are sick. Vancouver, obviously, they played a terrific game. They were really on it the entire night, other than maybe the first 10 minutes of the first period. But that's kind of how Game 1 went too. I thought in Game 1, the Oilers, the first 10 minutes, they controlled all the play. They had a lead. As that game progressed, though, Vancouver completely took over. Vancouver took over this game in the second period onward, and Edmonton did not deserve to win. The only player that actually deserved any remote success last night was Calvin Pickard, who I thought played phenomenal. He was an absolute brick wall for the Oilers last night. Is there, the goals that were scored on him, he might want back, obviously, but he gave the Oilers a chance to win. Oilers fans have all we've been asking for the last several years in the playoffs is we just need a goaltender to give us a chance to win. And last night, Calvin Pickard did that, but nobody else seemed to show up and want to give him that W last night. So with all that out of the way in my intro, let's kind of get into things. But first, if you're new to the channel and you like these types of videos, you like discussion videos, just make sure you hit that like button. If you really like it and you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are cruising to 2,500 subscribers. The support throughout the playoffs has been absolutely phenomenal. So I just want to thank everyone that has been tuning in, especially to the live streams. Holy smokes, we had a lot of people in the live stream last night. We had over 200 concurrent viewers at one point. I think about 5,000 people at some point tuned into the stream. So just want to thank everyone that does tune in and support the channel. It truly does mean a lot. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into our day after discussion. Vancouver leads the series 3-2. This is our Game 5 discussion. They win the game last night 3-2. The Oilers' expected goals for percentage last night, 42.12%. Corsi for 50%. High danger Corsi for 47.37%. Scoring chances for 50%. All those stats are via Natural Stat Trick at 5v5. So our topics today, history repeats. We have passengers, lineup changes, fatigue factor, McDrai, Ken Holland, find a way, and my closing thoughts. So to just kind of jump into it, I kind of touched on it in the intro with history repeats. Like I said, last year against Vegas, the Oilers 2-2 series tie goes into Vegas. They have a lead early in Game 5, and then they completely crap the bed, and they end up losing. They go back home for Game 6, and they end up losing that as well. We talk about playoff experience. We talk about have the Oilers learned their lessons. It seems like every year the players and the team and fans go, oh, well, this is a learning experience. Well, if they learned anything from last year, if this team truly has what it takes, they will find a way to win Game 6 in Edmonton on Saturday. But there's obviously some concerning signs here that, if they don't win, obviously they will be eliminated. Vancouver will make the conference final, and it will be well-deserved for the Canucks, in my personal opinion. I thought Vancouver last night played a really, really good game. The Oilers could not get the puck out of their zone at all, and the Oilers' top players, I referred to them as the Russian Five the other day, with Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid, Ekholm, and Bouchard. I referred to them as the Oilers' Russian Five, or their version of it. All five of those players for Edmonton last night were terrible. They were icky poo-poo. They were not good at all, but that is a testament to the Vancouver Canucks. That is a testament to Rick Tocchet. He called out some of his players, and the line matchups that he had in that game, they took advantage of it. Vancouver wanted the win more. They played more desperate. They were so aggressive on the forecheck. The Oilers had no answer. Usually Ekholm and Bouchard are your two best defensemen at moving the puck out of their zone. Obviously, we know the struggles of Cody Ceci when it comes to clean zone exit. Same with Darnell Nurse. Same with Vinny Desharnais. They're just not great first passers. However, last night, the issues were actually stemming from Ekholm and Bouchard. They were really struggling at moving the puck. They were struggling at getting the puck up to forwards. And for the forwards, they were not supporting their defensemen nearly enough down low. They were not coming back to support. They were not giving their defensemen any kind of opportunity to move the puck to them to get a clean breakout. And that's pretty discouraging. That is a discouraging sign. This is the second round. You're 5 games into the second round. You should not be having, types of games like this. Like that game last night reminded me of like game 35 at 10 p.m. in like Minnesota. Like it didn't look like Oilers hockey, like in any way, shape, or form. And it is strange that the Oilers would have their worst game, one of their worst games of the season, in game 5 of a second round playoff series. So credit to the Canucks. Kudos to Rick Tocchet for making the changes. In his lineup, he had several players inserted into the lineup. He took a couple guys out, and the Oilers didn't have an answer. Calvin Pickard, he gave the team a chance to win. He gave them, I think it was 1.2 goals saved above expected last night. And, as an Oilers fan, we just want a goaltender to give the team a chance to win. They had a chance to win. The fact that game was even 2-2 in the third period was because of Calvin Pickard. If it wasn't for Calvin Pickard, that would have been an absolute blowout embarrassment of a game. And if you're the Oilers, there's obviously a lot of work to do if you want to try and, keep your season alive. Edmonton now has to win 2 straight if they want to move on to the next round. Vancouver just needs to win one of the next 2 games. And this is where we're going to see if experience truly does matter, if learning experiences do matter. Vancouver, they have a bit of swagger right now. And, they're playing like they have nothing to lose. The Oilers, they're the ones with all the pressure. They're the ones with the Stanley Cup or bust aspirations. They have McDavid. They have Draisaitl. They have Nugent Hopkins. They have Ekholm, Bouchard. You look at the team on paper, the Oilers have the higher end top talent, but Vancouver is a well-rounded team, and they play as a team. It is a team effort. It seems like a lot of nights with the Oilers, when the big guns aren't going, nobody else is going. And this is what leads me into my second topic, and that is passengers. A lot of passengers on this team right now for the Oilers. And honestly, it's unacceptable at this point. There are a lot of guys on this team that have been around long enough where you expect a lot more from them. And I try not to be hard on some of these players. I try and keep a more upbeat, positive attitude. However, if Rick Tocchet wants to call out his players, and call passengers out, I'm also going to call out some passengers here. So, first of all, starting with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. In this series against Vancouver, he has 1 goal, 4 assists, so that's 5 points. He only has 2 points at even strength in the entire series, though. He had 0 shots on goal last night. He was a complete non-factor on that top line, and Chris Knoblauch did not make an adjustment on the top line until halfway through the third period. At that point, though, it was too late. McDavid and Draisaitl just didn't have their A games either, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, yes, was I super happy that he scored in Game 4, and even strength goal that is, absolutely. But for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he's been with this team long enough. This is several playoff years in a row for him where he's not producing enough at even strength. He's not giving the team depth scoring. And, we can talk about his play away from the puck all we want. Yes, it's good. He's a very good complementary player, but, he's not a centerman anymore. So you expect a little bit more from your wingers. McDavid and Draisaitl take that center responsibility in the top 6 now. For Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you need more from him. Unfortunately, right now against the Canucks, he is being checked into oblivion. So is McDavid. Like, they're just not factors. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins especially is just not a factor right now. And if the Oilers want to have any chance of success, they need Ryan Nugent-Hopkins going. They need his A game. They need him to produce. They need him to make good passes. And Nugent-Hopkins, his bread and butter is clearly the power play. Like, he gets a lot of his points on the power play. That's just how he is now, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the power play last night really struggled. Nugent-Hopkins struggled at moving the puck. McDavid struggled. Draisaitl struggled. Like, no one did good on the power play for Edmonton last night. They went 0 for 5. They had an opportunity to really try and put the game away early. They did not do it. Vancouver, terrific penalty kill. They were incredibly aggressive. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, not good enough in the playoffs at all. And this is not the first year that he has not been good enough in the playoffs. This is his better playoff season over the last couple, but he has, he's really been a non-factor when it comes to postseason play over the last several years now. Next player I want to talk about as a passenger, Zach Hyman. Well, why am I going after Zach Hyman? Obviously, he has 9 goals in the playoffs. That's great. He has 2 goals in this series against Vancouver, and that came in game 1. So he has 1 assist since game 1, 0 points since game 2. And for Zach Hyman, he's just, again, he's one of those players where I don't even notice that he's on the ice half the time. He's not really throwing his weight. And the only time I notice him is when the Oilers are on a power play, and then Hyman takes a dumb penalty to negate their power play, and he's sitting in the box for 2 minutes. Zach Hyman, we need more from him. He's not getting to open areas. And when he is in an open area, he's just standing there. You got to move a little bit. Give McDavid an option here. Like on the power play last night, he's just parked himself by the back door. He's just waiting for a puck to hit his stick and go in. Well, holy smokes, man. Like they have you covered. Move. Get mobile. Move around a little bit. Cross-check someone in front of the crease if you have to, just to show that you're there. For Zach Hyman, obviously, I love Zach Hyman, and this is not me going after him and saying that I think he sucks or anything. Same with Nugent Hopkins. Every player that I'm going to talk about here, I don't hate them or dislike them, but they are turning into non-factors in this series very quickly, and the Oilers are learning that you cannot just win games with your top 2 players in McDavid and Draisaitl, and unfortunately, that's kind of who they've relied on over the last several seasons in the playoffs. So we need more from Zach Hyman. We need him to be more of a factor on the ice. We need him to hit some guys. We need him to play more gritty. We need him to make the right plays with the puck, and we need him to not negate power play opportunities when the Oilers have one. So for the next player I want to talk about here as a passenger, Ryan McLeod. He has 0 goals. He has 0 assists all postseason. He does not have a single point in the playoffs at all. He is literally the definition of a non-factor. Now, I love Ryan McLeod. I think he is super underrated in terms of defensive play. I think he's very underrated, in terms of his overall on-ice impact. However, he does not shoot the puck on net. He doesn't get into scoring areas, and his passing just hasn't been as good as I think it should be. Him and Corey Perry and Warren Foegele, literally, like that third line is it's a nothing burger. There's nothing happening when they're on the ice. Yes, they don't get scored on often, if at all. Well, that's great. Good for them. Maybe put a puck in the other team's net just for once. For the love of God, Matthias Janmark has a goal in this series now. Connor Brown has a point. Ryan McLeod gets more than enough ice time to contribute to this team, and he has shown that, maybe he's not a playoff guy. Maybe he's not a playoff performer. I think, Ryan McLeod, there's a lot of people that go after him in the regular season, and I've been someone that's defended Ryan McLeod all year. But Ryan McLeod, passenger, definition of a passenger. Need more from him, and we will talk about lineup changes, but for Ryan McLeod, he's getting to the point where I wouldn't even play him. Next player I want to talk about, and this is a very discouraging one and very disappointing to me, Corey Perry. We all thought Corey Perry heading into the playoffs would be this, this X factor, someone with all this playoff experience. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's been to multiple Stanley Cup finals. He has that leadership. He has that voice. He gets dirty in the corners. He'll muck it up after whistles. He'll hit guys, and yes, was it a funny meme where he's holding his stick up in front of Besser's face or Miller's face? I can't remember Besser or Miller. I always get 6 and 9 mixed up on Vancouver, but he's holding his stick up and yeah, was it funny? Sure. It's not funny. The fact that he has 0 points in the playoffs this year. Corey Perry, literally 0 goals, 0 assists, just like Ryan McLeod. He is a -3, and Corey Perry has 3 shots on goal in the entire series against Vancouver. That is not good enough. Corey Perry, we all thought that, obviously Father Time is playing a role here. Corey Perry turned 39. He is the definition of, in the twilight of his career. He may even retire at the end of this season. Wouldn't be surprised if he did. He doesn't have the foot speed, and he's not producing anything at all. Defensively, his defensive impacts haven't been bad. I think that third line of Perry, Foegele, and McLeod, they haven't been bad. They probably are due for a goal, honestly, with just the I don't know. I'm kind of losing my train of thought there, but Corey Perry, 0 goals, 0 assists in the playoffs. He's a -3. I thought he would be more of a factor in the series. He has not been. I thought he'd be more of a factor just in general. He has not shown up at all. We are 10 games into the postseason for Edmonton, 5 against LA. We just played 5 against the Vancouver Canucks, and it's just not good enough. Corey Perry, this is incredibly disappointing. As an Oilers fan, I would be very disappointed in Corey Perry's play. Next player I want to talk about as a passenger, Warren Foegele. For the love of God, Warren Foegele, 0 goals, 0 assists a -2 versus the Canucks. Again, the definition of a non-factor. I mean, that I'm beating that word over the head because I want to make it known that these players are contributing literally nothing right now. Warren Foegele has 1 goal in the entire postseason, and that came in Game 1 against the LA Kings into an empty net. Warren Foegele had 20 goals this season. It was a career high. He had a career year. Warren Foegele, just like last year in the playoffs, he did not get anything going offensively. And this year, once again, he's getting nothing going offensively. He takes a bad penalty here and there. He is physical, sure, but again, you barely notice he's out there. Does he skate fast? Yes. Does he have a hard shot? Yes. Does he have a good shot? No. And when it comes to cycling and getting into the dirty areas and getting, scoring opportunities, Warren Foegele contributes absolutely nothing. Definition of a passenger. Next player I'm going to talk about, and again, this is another sad one, and it's father time related more than the actual player themselves, just like Corey Perry, but Derek Ryan. He has 1 assist in this series against Vancouver. He has 5 shots on goal in 7 games throughout the entire postseason. And for Derek Ryan, he's given important defensive zone draws during games, especially in third periods. He took that face-off in Game 4 before Vancouver tied it, and I don't know why they gave Derek Ryan that defensive responsibility. He lost that face-off. Vancouver tied the game. Luckily, the Oilers ended up winning off of Bouchard's goal a shift later. But, for Derek Ryan, he's given very specific moments where they rely on him, whether it's for a face-off or a penalty kill, whatever it is. Has the penalty kill been good with him? Yes. Has he been effective on face-offs? Not really. He's at like 46% on the draw in the postseason. And I don't know why they give him such important defensive zone draws when your best faceoff guy is Leon Draisaitl. So for Derek Ryan, again, you don't ask for fourth liners to produce a lot of offense, but the fact that he has only 1 assist in this entire series and he only has 5 shots on goal in 7 playoff games total, maybe it's time for Derek Ryan to sit. I love Derek Ryan. I think he is a good player. But, someone like him, he might be a little bit out of his element right now. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than that. Need more from Derek Ryan. Next player I'm going to talk about as a passenger. Now we're to the defenseman here. Number 1, Darnell Nurse. In the playoffs, in this series against the Vancouver Canucks, just this series, he has 1 assist. Okay, well, that's not bad. He's a -8. Holy smokes, a -8 in 5 games. What on earth? He's averaging almost 1.5 goals against per game. His expected goals for percentage is 39.18%. 39.18 expected goals for percentage against the Vancouver Canucks. Darnell Nurse is having one of the worst playoff series I've ever seen. He's having one of the worst stretch of games I've ever seen in his entire career. This is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Yes, Knobloch made the adjustment, put Vinny Desharnais up there in Game 4, played them again last night. Has he looked better in those 2 games with Desharnais? Yes. Has he looked good? No. Looking better does not mean looking good. Darnell Nurse, for your highest paid defenseman, you expect way more, not only, in your own zone. Yeah, defensive play is obviously important. You got to play defense, prevent the other team from scoring, but he's a non-factor pretty much everywhere on the ice, the neutral zone and the offensive zone. Does he jump up in the rush sometimes? Yes, he does, which is, I like that. However, his actual impact in this series has been so negative. Like, he's playing at below replacement level. You could literally play any other defenseman in place of Darnell Nurse, and it might actually be a net positive. It's wild to me that he still gets the ice time that he does. It's wild that he still gets the defensive zone responsibilities that he does. Darnell Nurse has been putrid in this entire series. He's been putrid in the entire playoffs. We deserve way more and way better from him. And speaking of Darnell Nurse, his regular partner, obviously his partner not right now, it's Desharnais, but Cody Ceci, holy smokes. He has 1 goal in this series against the Canucks. That was in Game 1 where I think the puck hit Ian Cole. So he's a -4 in this series against Vancouver, and he has a 22.29 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5. 22.29 expected goals for. You have to actively be trying to be that bad to have an expected goals for percentage that low. That is horrifying. Cody Ceci, again, I'm not going to beat this over the head like I usually do, but Cody Ceci, obviously he's a passenger. When you have 2 of your top 4, I'll put top 4 in quotation marks because Ceci probably shouldn't be considered a top 4 defenseman, but he is given top 4 ice time. So when 2 of your top 4 defensemen, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your forwards are complete non-factors for the most part, especially at even strength, you're not winning a lot of games. That is 8 of your players that are not contributing anything during the game. It is not nearly good enough. We want to talk about passengers. Those are your passengers right now. And some people might be like, oh, well, McDavid has been struggling too. It's Connor McDavid. He does so much all the time. I absolutely refuse to ever say Connor McDavid is a passenger, because the amount of work that him and Draisaitl and the amount of points they produce, and they are the drivers of this team. They are allowed to not have the best game of their careers, and they deserve a little bit more help on the ice, in my personal opinion. I don't mean to get heated. I usually don't get heated, but Draisaitl and McDavid, they deserve more help. They deserve more support, and they haven't been getting it. So we will talk about this a little bit more when I get to the Ken Holland topic, but that's a little bit later in this video. Also, friendly reminder, I'm going to have everything time-stamped as well. So if there's anything that you want to, skip to or rewatch or all that stuff, I will have everything time-stamped for you. All right, so with that out of the way, that is passengers. We're going to move into lineup changes. So obviously, you can't take 8 players out of the lineup and insert 8 new bodies. That is completely unrealistic. However, I would personally take out Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry, Derek Ryan, Cody Ceci. I would make a huge change here. I would put in Sam Gagner, Raph Lavoie, Adam Henrique if he's healthy. If not, then I would go Adam Ernie and then Philip Broberg. Now, why do I put Adam Ernie in there? Well, holy smokes, I don't know. Maybe it's because Vancouver is out hitting Edmonton by a 2-1 margin over the last couple of games, and I think that physical wear and tear is starting to take its toll. Obviously, the Oilers, they're trying to focus on puck possession and scoring chances and all that. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. Guess what? Vancouver's up 3-2 in the series, and their defensive group, especially guys like Zadorov and them, they are just so punishing when it comes to the physicality. And Evander Kane, he's been more physical, which is good for Edmonton. I'm happy about that. However, Edmonton has not been able to match the physicality. That's why I would put Adam Ernie in there. Just go out there, play 7 minutes, and just skate as fast as you can and hit someone. Seriously. And, for someone like Ernie, obviously, he doesn't have much of a scoring touch, but you never know. Maybe he can just park his ass in front of the goaltender and a puck can go off of his hip and in. But I would put Sam Gagner in for Game 6. Let him play a home game in front of the home crowd in the playoffs under the Edmonton Oilers banner here. I think Sam Gagner deserves it. Adam Henrique, if he's healthy, obviously I want him reinserted into this lineup, even though he hasn't had a great playoffs and he has played a little bit banged up. Adam Henrique cannot be a worse option than either McLeod, Perry, or Derek Ryan at the moment. And then Raph Lavoie, you know what? Give the kid an opportunity. He's a volume shooter. He shoots from everywhere on the ice. The Oilers need more shoot-first mentality players in this lineup. And then for Philip Broberg, I don't care if he's a left-handed defenseman, and I don't care if you're taking Cody Ceci out for him. Move Brett Kulak to the right side and play Broberg with him if you want to. But Broberg can play his offside. Obviously, it's optimal if he doesn't. However, get Broberg in here. Get Ceci out. I don't care how you rearrange your defense pairs to do it. I am tired of Ceci. You know what? Even take Darnell Nurse out. If you want the left-handed defenseman, sure, take Nurse out and put Broberg in there. I literally don't care. You are 1 game away from elimination. This is the opportunity to see what some of these players are made of. This is the opportunity to see who is willing to who's going to step up here. Who is going to step up and be a hero? Because right now, nobody wants to be a hero. I'm just being honest. Nobody here wants to be a hero. And, when it comes to lineup changes, do you go back to Stuart Skinner for Game 6? I say absolutely not. No, you do not go back to Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner is one of the main reasons why this series is where it is right now. He did not play well at all in Game 1. He did not play well at all in Game 3. There's a reason why he is not the starting goaltender right now. Calvin Pickard, he's giving them an opportunity to win. That's what the team needs. I would expect the Oilers, especially their top players, to bounce back in Game 6. And with that bounce back, I would also expect Calvin Pickard, if he plays like he did last night against the Canucks, that should be more than good enough to give Edmonton an opportunity to tie the series and go back to Vancouver for Game 7. You leave Calvin Pickard in the net. This is his crease. He has not proven that he has lost it. And, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, Skinner, redemption arc. It could be good for his psyche, blah, blah, blah. You're here to win a Stanley Cup. You're here to win a playoff series. You're here to win a playoff game. Right now, you're focusing on 1 game at a time, and that is Game 6. Now, if the Oilers win 6-5, and obviously Calvin Pickard gives up 5 goals and looks a little shaky, maybe you look at Skinner for Game 7. However, Calvin Pickard, he has done everything this team has asked for him all season as the backup goaltender. He should have never even been in this position because their $5 million man, Jack Campbell, was completely unplayable, sent to the minors, called Pickard up. The fact Skinner and Pickard are even here right now is more of an indictment on Ken Holland than anything. But Calvin Pickard, he deserves the start in Game 6. Give him the start. With that all out of the way, I'm going to briefly talk about fatigue factor. So, with the fatigue factor, what am I meaning with that? Well, we know how notoriously high the ice time has been for McDavid and Draisaitl, Ekholm, Bouchard, and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins. They are being run into the ground. This is the same old story every year. They were relied on. They were the guys that really controlled and allowed this team to get back into the playoff hunt. Obviously, the Oilers had a lot of contributions up and down the lineup when they won 16 straight earlier in the year, got themselves back into the playoffs. But as the season progressed, it still turns into the McDavid and Draisaitl show, And that's, again, this is an indictment on Ken Holland's roster. They rely on their big guns too much. And I said this after game 3, unsustainable ice time. I said, if they continue to be played at this level, if you continue to play McDavid around 30 minutes, Draisaitl 30 minutes, this sort of thing, you are running them into the ground, and Vancouver has the edge the longer the series goes. We are heading into game 6. You have to trust your other players, even though I just bagged on them and said they were passengers. You need more trust in these players. You need to bring down the Top Guns minutes a little bit. You need to increase everyone else's minutes a little bit. Last night, the Oilers, again, I think had 5 or 6 players under 10 minutes time on ice. It's just not good enough. Have trust in your roster. Have trust in your team. And, McDavid and Draisaitl, I actually find that they become less effective the more that you play them. They seem to be most effective when they play between 19 and 22 minutes in a night. If you're playing them 24, 25, 26, even higher minutes, I find that, by the end of the game, obviously they are completely bagged. They have absolutely nothing in the tank. And, when we look at the fatigue, was fatigue a factor last night? I don't think so. Does the team look a little off? Yeah, they could be. They maybe there's a bug going around. Maybe they have a cold or whatever. It's the playoffs. The, best teams, caliber, Stanley Cup caliber teams, they have a way to get through this. They have a way to get over it. And if there is a bug going around, and let's say someone is not feeling 100%, why are you playing them 30 minutes a night, Chris Knobloch? Make the adjustment here. Lower some ice time. Get the other guys into the lineup, and have faith in your team to get the job done. And speaking of McDavid and Draisaitl, McDrai obviously is what they're referred to. I did not like them. Knobloch went back to them in the third period last night. Neither of them really had a game going at all. I understand why he did it. He's just looking for an offensive spark. It's a tie game. It's late in the third. There's 6, 7, 8 minutes left in the third. You're looking for that next goal. You just want, maybe you get a lucky bounce. Maybe McDavid gets a little break. Maybe you get a 2-on-1. It didn't work. McDavid and Draisaitl, I actually thought when they were put together, looked even worse than when they weren't together. And that is not a good thing considering they didn't really have a great game in general. I thought Draisaitl had a marginally better game than Connor McDavid, but Connor McDavid right now, he is being taken care of by JT Miller. That's the line matchup that Rick Tocchet has, and Miller has done a terrific job. People might complain that he holds McDavid up, he interferes with them. This is playoff hockey. The refs are not going to call that kind of stuff. Usually, obviously, we can talk about some of the calls and non-calls last night, but however, the officiating is not the reason why Edmonton is where they are in this position, down 3-2. They are in this position because they are not playing good enough. Vancouver has been the hungrier team. They've been the more desperate team. They're the team that wants to, they want to win the cup more. It's plain and simple. And, McDavid and Draisaitl, obviously, 2 players can't just do with this on their own. And if Edmonton wants success, they need to split McDavid and Draisaitl up for game 6. Do not play them together. If Chris Knobloch has these 2 playing together, wants the nuclear option, no, absolutely not. Do not do it. I thought in the third period when they were put together, big mistake. I actually thought that made Edmonton play even worse. So don't put those 2 together. Keep them separated. Now, all this has led to me to, led to the Ken Holland situation. So Ken Holland, he had a bit of a checklist going into the trade deadline. Edmonton needed depth scoring, especially on the right side, like right wing. He needed a top 4 defenseman optimally, a right D, a replacement for Cody Ceci, and he needed maybe a goaltender that could platoon with Stuart Skinner, someone who had playoff experience. Now, Calvin Pickard had played more than good enough throughout the regular season to remain the backup. I understand why. They might not have picked up a goalie. They had trust in Pickard, and Stuart Skinner at the time was playing fine. Listen, I get it. However, those were the 3 main items on Ken Holland's checklist. He ended up going out. He picked up Adam Henrique, third-line center. Not a bad pickup by any means, by the way. I like Adam Henrique, but not someone that really moves the needle on offense, in my opinion, and doesn't add enough enough depth to the right wing side for the Oilers. Right wing has been a problem for several years now. Did not upgrade right wing, did not really upgrade the scoring depth. And then he picked up Sam Carrick, a fourth line center who has been a healthy scratch more often than not. Can he win faceoffs? Sure. Can he fight? Yeah. Does he move the needle on offense? Absolutely not. Does not help the depth scoring at all on this team. And right now the Oilers are struggling with depth scoring. This is a huge issue. Ken Holland, your two forwards that you acquired have been they've been non-factors. Adam Henrique, obviously he got hurt. That's unfortunate. But even before Adam Henrique got hurt, he never looked like he was comfortable and established himself in this lineup. And I don't know if that's just because you're trying to get used to the new system. I know he just had a kid before he got traded, and that can take a mental toll. Well, we're a couple months past the trade deadline. You would hope that you're able to adjust by then. It looks like Henrique wasn't really able to adjust. He never even looked comfortable even when he was in the lineup, and it's just not good enough. Ken Holland, he had a shopping list and he completely failed. He was given bread and milk to get at the grocery store, and he came home with a bag of potato chips and some grape juice. That's just how incompetent his trade deadline was. You look at the Vancouver Canucks. They picked up Zadorov and Lindholm. They picked up a top four defenseman and a second line center, and they are having a massive impact in this series. Sam Carrick, where is he? Has he even played a game in the series? No impact in this series. Adam Henrique, well, he's hurt, so no impact in the series. And defensive depth. Needed a top four right defenseman. Picked up Troy Stetcher. Not a top four right defenseman, but someone that can play 5-6 minutes. A number 5, number 6 D-man minutes. Well, he's a healthy scratch every night. Chris Knoblauch doesn't play him. Troy Stetcher, not even in the lineup. All three of Ken Holland's trade deadline acquisitions are not in the lineup. You look at the teams that remain in the postseason right now. You look at the trade deadline acquisitions that they made. They are, positively or negatively or even neutrally, they're having an impact in their series, especially on the Canucks, by the way, with Lindholm and Zadorov. For the Edmonton Oilers, Ken Holland, he made 3 trades, brought in 3 players, and it has not worked out. It is completely not good enough. And for Ken Holland, you know what? He's probably 1 foot out the door already. There's reports that he's gonna become the general manager in Columbus. He's gonna sign for their vacant GM position. And another strange thing too, you know how in the playoffs, a lot of times when a goal is scored against you or you score a goal on the other team, sometimes the camera will pan up into the press box, just to show the management of the team that just got scored on, just to get a reaction. I know they do it in Boston all the time. They always show Cam Neely and Don Sweeney up in there when the Bruins are scored against, constantly. One, because Cam Neely is always looking so angry and it looks like he wants to literally kill everybody, which is funny to me. Where is Ken Holland? I don't think the camera has panned up and showed him at any point in this entire playoff season, at all. I would not be surprised if Ken Holland literally is already checked out. He's probably sitting in Columbus right now. He's probably sitting in an office waiting to sign the papers. He probably doesn't give a single shit about what's going on in Edmonton. And for Ken Holland, his legacy is absolutely pathetic when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. He has needed to improve several aspects of this team through the draft and through trade. He has not really accomplished it. Obviously, I give him credit for the Ekholm trade. That was good. And signing Zach Hyman. That was good. Nugent Hopkins, re-signing him to a pretty team-friendly deal. Sure. Also good. But in terms of what was required to go all in, this was Ken Holland's last year of his contract, his final year of his contract. Now, I don't know if it was a Jackson thing or a Holland thing or what, but it's just not good enough, man. This is Ken Holland's 5th year with the team. All in. Everyone says this team's all in. Well, acquiring Adam Henrique, Sam Carrick, and Troy Stetcher, that's your all-in trade deadline to give McDavid and Draisaitl and Ekholm the support that they need to go on a long run here. Completely unacceptable. Ken Holland is going to be one of the most hated men in Edmonton if Edmonton gets eliminated in the second round. If we go from Peter Chiarelli to Ken Holland and both those general managers in their tenure, and the Oilers finish with zero conference finals wins in those 8 or 9 years of Connor McDavid, that is horrifyingly, that's just putrid. And they better get the next general manager right, because they've had 2 straight general managers that have had major flaws in how they construct a roster. For Peter Chiarelli, his issue is trades and free agent signings. For Ken Holland, his issue is for the most part, trades and also drafting. Ken Holland's drafting has been horrible. Ken Holland, he's going to leave the team, and Edmonton has nothing in the cupboard coming up for future here. And I don't want to talk like Edmonton's out of this. Obviously, they're not, but I wanted to bring this up because he is going to be a huge talking point for me, depending on what happens the rest of the postseason here. So Ken Holland, not good enough. Super disappointed in the trade deadline. At the time, I will admit, at the time I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. As long as everyone else still performs like they have been, guys like Fogle, McLeod, like the guys that were scoring depth goals. I was like, as long as everyone else is still contributing, I think Henrique, Carrick, and Stetcher are fine. Stetcher, there's no reason why Stetcher's not in the lineup. I have no idea how you can look at Nurse and CC and go, yeah, Troy Stetcher, healthy scratch. No. Horrible. Ken Holland's tenure here has been just awful. He's one of the reasons why I was inspired to even make YouTube videos in general. When the Oilers got off to that 2-9-1 start, I really leaned into Ken Holland a lot and blamed him for a lot of the issues with this team. And I will continue to put that blame on him depending on what happens from here on out. In saying that, next topic is just find a way. Now, find a way in closing thoughts. I'm going to kind of combine this here. I'm going to wrap this up. This is a very long video. This is turning into like a podcast now. So not my intention. If you were still watching to this point, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But for the Oilers, you're down 3-2 in the series. Go out there, play like your life depends on it. Find a way. Find a way. Force a game 7. Just find a way. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what it takes. Find a way. That's all you have to do. Just win the next one. Don't even focus on a game 7. Focus on game 6. If there truly is a learning experience here from last year against Vegas, Edmonton's going to prove it on Saturday. Will they prove it? Yes. Will Edmonton win? I'm calling it. They're going to win game 6. I'm giving the Austin hockey guarantee here. Edmonton will win game 6. Guarantee it. That is my guarantee. This is my Mark Messier moment on YouTube. Edmonton's going to win game 6. In saying that, though, for everyone that has tuned in, I truly appreciate it. I'm not even going to look ahead to after this series, depending on what happens in terms of the content that I'll be creating. Just know that no matter what happens, I will be creating content regularly. So if you like my hockey content, if you like the Oilers content, Canucks content, or just any hockey content at all, playoff content, make sure you like this video today. That goes a long way in showing your support. Make sure you subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Like I said, we are cruising to 2,500 subscribers, and the support over the last several months has just been incredible to me. So everyone that tunes in regularly, I truly do appreciate it. For Canucks fans, I just want to say good game for the game last night. And for everyone that tuned into the live stream, if you are a Canucks fan, thank you for being cordial. Thank you for being good sports. One of the big things I push on my channel is positivity. I want everyone to remain positive. I want everyone to be good sports. Are you allowed to trash talk? Of course. Are we allowed to poke fun at each other? Absolutely. As long as it's in good fun and, we're not being negative. We're not being mean to each other. Nothing's mean-spirited. Positivity goes a long way. This is kind of the whole thing on my channel. I know I say positivity goes a long way after I just had a 35-minute video where I was pretty negative, but I'm getting into Oilers fan mode where I'm putting the focus on people that deserve to be criticized, in my opinion. So this is more constructive criticism than just, mean-spirited criticism. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, subscribe, and tell someone that you love them, all right? Tell someone that you love them. Nothing's ever guaranteed in life, so that's the big thing. Always tell someone that you love them, okay? I will see you tomorrow for the pre-game report, or if there's breaking news, anything like that, I will have a video up. But for sure, tomorrow, pre-game report, and then tomorrow night, I will be live streaming Game 6. Let's go, Oilers.